Pickups were built to be workhorses, and for a time, that's all they were. They had about the same amenities as a drive-in motel, the comfort of a pushcart, and they were as fun to drive as doing household chores. But that was then, because in recent years, pickups have drastically evolved. And they've gotten so many creature comforts that people actually use them as daily drivers aside from cargo haulers. But that has taken its toll on their prices because they have skyrocketed over the years. Fortunately, they're still an affordable option. But let's find out if it's any good.
Presenting the Maxus T60.
Maxus, or LDV as it's known in other markets, may be new to the Philippines, but they've actually been around for quite a while. LDV is one of Europe's most recognized brands, and the British government has also chosen them to supply vehicles for the Royal Mail and the Royal Bank. But let's put all prejudice aside and assess this pickup based on its actual merits. So forget the fact that it's made in China, or that it has British heritage, or that this is being presented to you by a middle-aged guy who's in dire need of a haircut. Okay, we're going a little off track there. So let's just start with the exterior. The exterior of the T60 uses what they call double layer welding technology. So there's an extra layer of protection to keep you and your loved ones safe. As far as build quality is concerned, panel gaps are minimal and even. The doors shut solidly with a subtle thud and nothing feels chintzy. At the front, you get automatic headlights with DRLs and fog lamps. Along the side, you'll see that the T60 rolls on 17-inch alloys, and if you look close enough, you'll also find front and rear disc brakes, which are equipped with ABS and EBD. These wheels also come equipped with a tire pressure monitoring system. At the back, you also get a defogger for the rear glass, rear fog lamps, and a bumper with integrated stepboard. So the exterior of the T60 seems really well built, and it's rather understated, which is an indication that it'll probably age well over time. So now, let's check out the interior. So the interior of the T60 leans more towards the functional side. You'll see that durability was prioritized over flamboyance with the choice of materials here. But that's not to say that this interior is without its niceties, because you still get automatic climate control, 2 USB ports, cup holders here in the middle and beneath the AC vents, and there's ample storage. And for your infotainment, you get this huge 10-inch touchscreen which has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The center console houses your gear lever and 4-wheel drive selector. You'll also find buttons for your traction control and hill descent control. Not to mention buttons for your different drive modes, which will vary throttle response and shift patterns depending on whether you want more power or efficiency. All the buttons are within easy reach and all feel quite sturdy. It's also refreshing to see that there are physical buttons for various controls of your infotainment screen. Now let's see what the back seats are like. Ah yes, the back seats. So first things first, there's a lot of room in here. The front seat is adjusted for someone of my height, which is 5'7" and a half. And you'll see that there's a lot of legroom and a lot of headroom. Now I could benefit from a bit more thigh support, but I do like the fact that I'm not sitting too upright, which is usually the case for a lot of pickups. You'll be pleased to know that there are rear air vents and pockets at the back seats. There are also various ways to configure the rear seats for even more cargo space. Now that we've seen the interior, let's see what's under the hood. The T60 is powered by a 2.8-liter VM Motori diesel engine. It pumps out 148 horsepower and 360 Newton meters of torque. Now let's see what that translates to behind the wheel. Okay, so 148 horsepower and 360 Newton meters of torque doesn't sound like a lot, but the important thing to note is that peak torque comes in at 1,600 RPM and it stays there all the way until 2,800 RPM. So you have power on demand when you need it the most. As far as the transmission is concerned, it shifts rather smoothly, but it does like to hold gears a bit too long. But that's only when you're on the default setting or on the power setting, which is expected because you need more power. So it holds the gears a bit longer. Now you'll see that acceleration is quite adequate. And the pickup easily gets up to speed, quite effortlessly. When you switch it to eco mode, the transmission goes up gears a lot faster. So that'll greatly help with your fuel consumption. Now for a lot of pickups, the driving experience is greatly compromised when it comes to the steering feel. Now the T60 has hydraulic power assist, and that means it gives you good feedback. However, the steering ratio is more on the slow side, which is to be expected from a pickup. But at least it doesn't feel like you're driving a boat. As far as NVH is concerned, the cabin does a good job in keeping the noise out, although the engine noise is a bit audible. So the horsepower and torque figures may not sound astronomical, but what's important is how quick the vehicle responds to your inputs. So let's see how this thing responds as far as acceleration is concerned off the line. As you can see, the power delivery is abrupt and immediate, which is really good. So when you take the T60's towing capacity, payload capacity, and weighting capacity into consideration, it makes for an absolutely dependable workhorse. But if you were to use this as your daily driver, the question is it easy enough to drive? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. Prices for the T60 starts at 998,000 pesos for the T60 Pro 4x2 with manual transmission. The T60 Pro 4x2 automatic could be yours for 1,078,000 pesos, while the T60 Elite 4x4 with automatic transmission is 1,328,000 pesos. And for a limited time, Maxus is offering 50,000 pesos off on all variants. So if you want an affordable pickup with some feature comforts, then the Maxus T60 might just be the pickup for you. I'd like to extend a special thank you to Eugene Albar for making this review possible.